Hey guys, it's Mommy of Two, Wife of One. I feel like it's been a long time since I've talked to you guys. I don't think it's been that long. I don't think you really, had time to miss me really. But it is March 9th, 2016, the 19th anniversary of Biggie's death. That has nothing to do with this message. It's just a fun fact if you didn't know about March 9th. And the topic for today is actually about my son. He's going to be 7 in a few days. And I just came from a meeting where I was talking about him. I'm not in a bad way because I love my son, obviously, but I was talking about how sometimes I worry that he doesn't have enough of an imagination. I am generally a very creative person. I used to write poetry, and when I played with my Barbie dolls when I was younger, I made up a soap opera with my Barbies, and that's how I kind of got started with writing. And I'm a published author of fiction, so I use creativity a lot in everyday life. And my son, he has some aspects of me where he's very into schedules and into knowing what's going on and to having things in a certain place. And he loves to read and he loves to learn about new languages and learn about new places. And he's kind of a bookwormy type person. He's very smart and just loves to learn about things, which isn't a bad thing. But my thing as a mother is always the fear that he doesn't have enough balance in his life, and a fear that he's going to be so happy with his own company and so happy with his nose in a book, or his nose, looking at his iPad and learning about new things. He's going to be so happy and content with that he's not going to play with other kids. So he does play with other kids at school, which I'm so incredibly grateful for. But because he doesn't really show a lot of imagination at home or when he's by himself, at school, the other kids who do have an imagination, who pretend they're superheroes or pretend that they're playing mommy and daddy, or they're playing teacher student, or whatever it is, those kids who have that kind of imagination, when he's playing with them, he kind of looks to them for guidance on how to play pretend. And it kind of, I guess, when he's come home and told me stories about how he's played with the other kids, it's more like they're the leaders and he's the follower. And so my fear, or one of my concerns, that he's going to be so comfortable with those roles with kids that he's always going to be a follower. And I fully believe that every leader should know how to follow, but I don't want following to be his business. I don't want him to do that all the time and to not even know how to be a leader. I want him to step up and be a leader when it calls for it. And obviously, he's 6, about to be 7. It's not like he's 13. I'm having these issues. But, when you become a mom, you pick up on things as they get older. And, things start kind of making sense to you. Things start clicking for you. And you do get concerned that some of the things they're exhibiting at this age, they're going to carry on when they get older. And obviously, I have no idea if that's going to be the case or not. But it's just something that kind of concerns me now. And I was talking to my husband and my mother about my son and my worry about his not having imagination, because he has an imaginary friend. And I didn't have him when I was younger, but I've heard that's a normal thing, which is whatever. But his imaginary friend has the same name as him, has the same birthday, dresses the same, eats the same things. And so it's like, on one hand, you have an imaginary friend, that's great, you use your imagination. On the other hand, that person is basically you. So it's like, not really using your imagination, not really. And my son is also into very different things. I don't know what the average 6-year-old is into, but my son, he does things like, he loves, like I said, to learn about new places. So he'll go in his encyclopedia, as a child encyclopedia, and he'll read about the continents, and he'll read about different states. And, oh, mommy, did you know that the capital of Florida is Tallahassee? And I'm like, oh, okay, great. And one day I went in his room and he's looking at the iPad, and he was going in alphabetical order of all the countries in the world. I think all the countries in the world, all the countries in one continent. And he is looking up the national anthem for all of these countries. And one of the countries, I can't even pronounce it, the words were in Russian, but he's just sitting there looking at it and all enthralled. And I was like, okay. And everyone keeps telling me, like, oh, well, he's a genius, he's smart, it's a great thing. And it is a great thing that he's smart, and I praise God that he loves to learn. I praise God and thank God every day that he is as smart as he is, and that we took the time to teach him things when he was young, and those things stayed with him, and he still has this love of learning, and he can read and write and all that stuff. It's great, it's wonderful, and I'm definitely not taking that for granted, and I'm not saying that I regret teaching him these things early. But again, my concern is that he doesn't have a balance. And I think with every child, whatever they're into, whatever they're obsessed with, they need to have some kind of a balance. They need to have other things that they are exposed to. So because he likes to read and write so much, a lot of times when I take him to do things, I take him to do things that have nothing to do with reading and writing, things that requires him to be present and to participate and to focus and pay attention. Things where he can't bring a book or his iPad or a notepad or whatever, he can't bring that stuff with him because he has to be in the moment. He has to participate. And so I purposely will take him to do those kinds of things. When he has a birthday party, I purposely will make it a birthday party where he has to be very active because he does love, he's a typical boy. He likes to run around with his friends. He likes to jump. He likes to dance. He likes music. So he does like those other things, but he only does those things when I've exposed it to him. And I think as a parent in general, that's something that we have to be very cognizant of with our children when we think of activities we want to take them to, classes we sign them up for. It's very important to make sure your child has a balance of things. And I think it's important to do that because they don't know what they're going to like or what they're going to try to be into when they get older unless you have exposed it to them at some point. And, my husband once said, it's a waste of money, to pay for him to, go to basketball, and he didn't like it. And I was like, I understand that. But if we hadn't signed him up for basketball, we wouldn't know that he didn't like it. So now we know that's something we can cross off the list, and he won't do basketball again. Because he did basketball for a few weeks, and it's not that he hated it. Basketball just isn't his thing. He's not very athletic. And that's fine. That's not a bad thing. That's just not his thing. He took violin as well. That just wasn't his thing. But we exposed it to him. He can say that he has taken violin lessons, and he can say that he has taken basketball lessons. So we're going to put him in a couple other things, and the whole point is to figure out what his niche is. Because one thing my mother always poured into me when I was younger and in middle, high school, whatever, is that especially when you're looking to go to college, you need to have something under your belt other than just going to class. So I was involved in several activities in high school and in middle school. I was always in chorus, or I took dance, or I was on the step team. I helped with the yearbook. I helped with the newspaper, or whatever it was, because it was important to me to get involved in other things. And I want that for him. And because he does like playing with other kids and he is sociable, I think that he'll succeed. But again, I want to just kind of expose him to other things so that he's not just so consumed with letters and consumed with, learning meanings of words and consumed with learning different translations of words. Like, I want my son to be exposed to other things. I just don't want him stuck in that box. And again, I don't want him so consumed with entertaining himself that he doesn't try to do things with other people and doesn't try to do activities that involve him interacting with other people. So that's my little tidbit for today, and my little, I don't know if you want to call it rant, vent, epiphany or whatever. But that's it for today. So I'm the mommy of two, wife of one. I thank you guys so much for taking the time to look at my videos, whether you're bored or enlightened or educated or just watching it out of duty for being my family and my friends. Thank you. You can send your comments, your questions, your requests, whatever it is you want to say to me, you can send to momof2wife1@gmail.com. That's mom of the number 2, wife of, what is it? Mom of the number 2, wife of ONE @gmail.com. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.